The disguise worked, Duke. We've apprehended Cobra Commander and we're coming in. Oh, your confidence will be your undoing. Finish them. Wait. You. It's always you. Now. In case you were wondering, here's the beef, motherfucker. More like Snake dies. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today we're taking a look at the Amazon exclusive Hasbro G.I.Joe classified series Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. That's a lot of words. It's Amazon exclusive. It's Storm Shadow, but not the Storm Shadow we were hoping for. Don't get me wrong, I love variants, but it's kind of odd to get a variant of a character we haven't gotten the main version for yet. This is definitely a throwback, or well, a modernization of that old Ninja Force Storm Shadow with the blacks and the whites. But we've already seen official pictures of Storm Shadow with a more traditional garb, how we think of Storm Shadow. And then we've also seen what he looks like in the upcoming video game. So dollars to donuts, there's a more traditional looking Storm Shadow on the way. Do not doubt that. Plus, this coming out first, I feel like Hasbro's schedule got all kinds of screwballed whenever the movie got pushed back. Long story short, patience. Looking at the package, it's what we're used to with the G.I.Joe classified series at this point, the whole few months it's been out. Windows showing most of what you get, and then the artwork is done by different artists for different characters. On the side, we get a different look at that, and I didn't even notice the little details up here in the white part. Well, it's all over. On the back, there's that poster that started all back at Toy Fair of this year. Down here's the warnings in many, many languages. Parents, watch out for parents. On the other side, I haven't actually looked this up yet, but this is Hasbro's new style of file card where you actually have to decode what all this means. Level 4 covert ops, and it even shows Storm Shadow right there. Actually, go straight to it. Okay, much better. Level 3 bladed weapons, level 3 infiltration, and then level 4 ninjutsu. Since he has an entry on the website, you get his name and his stats and then brief history. Number 14 in the series. On top, it tells you that again. You can see some damage here. It arrived from Amazon in a padded envelope. I just want the figure. I don't care about the cardboard. On the bottom, legalese barcode. But let's get this open and see how he stacks up against the rest of the Joes. And you get a blade that looks like a tiny sword or something. Cut these open. I'm sure they have those, right? Oh, that paper that Hasbro's been adding with every figure. There's many more languages and warnings. Don't put them in your mouth. But there's also a strangulation hazard. Long cord, not for children under 3 years. Oh, the hook does have cable on it. And then if you want to save the file card, you can pull the insert out, and you also get this big, nice Cobra logo background. Getting Storm Shadow out of the package, there is a lot to love, but there's some things to hate too. Now, I'm one of those guys that don't mind the modernization, the updates, the armors. So putting all this detail onto Storm Shadow when we're used to seeing just a ninja gi, or even, you know what I mean. You know where I'm going with this. This new line is hyper updated, and I do not have a problem with that at all. I like the extra bits. It's visually stimulating. There's always something interesting to look at every which way you turn a figure. The armor plate look up here with the Arashikage in gold on the chest piece. And even on the parts, like most of the black, where you think, oh, that's just an undersuit. It is, but it also has armor plating on it too. It's very Nolan Trilogy Batman-esque. Storm Shadow has all kinds of protection everywhere you look. There's some padding or a sleeve of some kind here on the arm with a nice little texture to it, but even that comes up over a, well, I guess that's some kind of protective covering. Down on the legs, we see that same kind of texture, that basketball feel to it. And on the outside of that is some sculpted armor detail. Down at the knees, super protected. And same thing for the shins. It has this wrap look to it that, hey, let's just put the armor all the way around. I don't know. Maybe that's some kind of heavy leather or something. Down at the shoe, there's the two-toed look that, ninja. The belt and hangy downies are all one piece, and they kind of float, but it's very, I can't say restrictive. It does get out of the way, but it feels clumsy. Okay, overall, this Storm Shadow is clumsy. That's where I'm going with this. Not so much in design, but execution, I guess. There's some pouches hanging off of pouches because you need all kinds of storage whenever you're wearing this much armor. 2 more pouches around the back, and then these hanging down. It continues on that texture from the black parts, but there's also a layer look to it. In the package, I looked at it and thought, oh man, those shoulders are bulky, but this shoulder pad piece is actually a separate part. And that's sandwiched in between the shoulder and the butterfly joint. It actually rides up and around. I don't have the new Star Wars Black Series Stormtrooper, but the way people describe it, I think is like this. So wherever you go with the arm, it gets out of the way, and then it's a softer material, so the arm comes up too. So very nice design there. If you leave the arm up too long, the shoulder pad likes to stay in position, but it'll slowly go down. The chest protection part comes up and over on some gold straps and attaches to the back, where you have some protection here on the back of the neck. And then up at the head, you have the hood covering the whole thing. And in the package, it's riding high. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate when a hood just, hey guys, what's going on? I'm wearing a fishbowl. And out of the package, you can push it down. And I like that look. It's sitting on top of the head. It's coming down in front of the eyes. That totally works for me. But you let go and it starts to woo. But I understand why they left it a separate piece. It's so you can take it off and have kind of that more Storm Shadow-y look, even though with the hood on, it's more Moon Knight-y. And this is where they absolutely killed it. I love the expression to the face. Even though it's mostly covered in this gear, the eyes poking through, and especially the eyebrows. This is an angry guy. I guess the head is cast in black, though, because the flesh tone is a little thin right there. You can see the plastic through it. And before you say reuse, it does not reuse the beachhead head. The beachhead head. Here's a head, there's a head, everywhere's a beachhead. Well, not everywhere, stupid Target exclusive. Paint-wise, like my gripes with some of the other Joes, we get beautiful sculpted details all over the body, but no wash, no dry brush, nothing to bring that out. Just a little contrast, just to punch it up a bit. There are some golds here and there, here, going up and around the top, right here on the back. But for the most part, there's the blacks and the off-whites. I don't know why they went with an eggshell. But this being Arctic, and with the gold, is it yellow snow? I don't know. Thankfully, it all matches though, so that has it going for it. But this brings the Ninja Force theme in right here. And that white is almost brighter than the plastic white. But at the same time, with this just being a base black, if you don't like this drippy parts, you can just paint right over it. Get on the back and you can see a difference right here too, where this is paint, this is plastic. It's not quite bright white, but it's a brighter white than the rest. The more I've messed with it though, the less it bugs me. It definitely caught me off guard when I first got it out, but now that I've messed with it and he's out in the snow, maybe getting dirty, you know, crouching for days, waiting for his prey, then it's not so bad. What is bad though is the torso being loosey-goosey. Whoop, 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 whoop. And it's right between the detents. If you crank it back and get to the next section, it's loose there too. How far does it go forward? I mean, if the belt wasn't getting in the way. At first you think, oh, it doesn't get in the way, but you get it into poses where the legs are up a bit and it starts to get in the way. But with the loose torso hinge, we actually saw that, oddly enough, with the retail release of Snake Eyes. You get between the detents and there's a looseness, and especially when you put the backpack on and some weight, it likes to drag back. The detents on Storm Shadow are tighter, you can definitely hear that, so it stays between those places, but if you're going for a shot and it suddenly goes boop, I get up there, oh, yeah, see? At first I thought it was, well, especially on Snake Eyes, they made so many that there was some mold degradation, so tolerances got off and it added some looseness. But Storm Shadow is all new body, brand new. There shouldn't be this yet. Speaking of movement though, there seems to be, well, let's just see what's up here. Ball joint at the top of the neck with a hinge, and then below that is a ball joint at the base. And with that, it can look up, can bury the chin. Ooh, tilt. Swivel. Butterfly joint at the shoulder comes forward, goes back. We talked about the shoulder pad. It's sandwiched in there. It doesn't get in the way of the shoulder hinging up, but there is a tight ass detent there. Can go slightly past 90. Can rotate the arm all the way around, and like I said, shoulder pad goes for a ride. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow comes all the way up. Can touch his own shoulder. Up and down hinge because of weapon hold in hand. And then, yep, swivel. I think I've already talked the torso hinge to death already, but that clicks. Well, it doesn't click forward, it just kind of leans forward. Arcs back, but to further enhance that is a ball joint at the waist. Hula hoop. There's a drop down at the hip. Good range there. Which is good because it's got to get around this vast collection of pouches on his hip. That comes forward, back, not completely 90, but hey, better than Spider-Man. And then of course that shifts up. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee. What's it got even with this? Oh yeah, easy. Ninja kick. No swivel at the boot, and I can only guess that it's to preserve the sculpt here because it goes all the way up to the knee. There doesn't really seem to be a good place to slice it for a twist. Hinge at the ankle goes back, forward, and then forward facing pin for rocker. For accessory, Storm Shadow comes with a hood. I'm calling it an accessory because I probably won't be using it a lot. Perfect world, we would have gotten this head as is, just like this. A hood maybe loose like this, and then for those who don't care for that, a hood attached to the top of the head where it stays just like that. And then you can move it around and all the flexing's down at the bottom, not the floating on top. For other accessories, it's Storm Shadow. Of course, he's going to come with a sword. That also includes a scabbard with matching sculpt. And then you can even see an Arashikage right there. There is a slight curve to the scabbard to put the sword in, but even if you put it in upside down, it doesn't really matter. Comes with a sickle. I'm calling it a sickle because I didn't Google it before I actually started looking, but it's in that same off-white, eggshell plastic white. The sword got some silver paint on the blade. I would have liked to have seen that here too. I don't know why they just left it plain like that. Comes with a bow and arrow. The arrow is in that white Arctic color scheme, but then we get gold and black on the bow itself. I don't know a lot about bows, but there is some flex to this. If you wanted to string this with something, because there is tiny notches on each end, I guess you could do that. And the arrow does look large, but toy standards in the US, I guess, or something. You can knock the bow between the trigger finger though. Don't be whipping it around or it'll fly out, but he can hold it well enough to get into a arrow shooting pose. And then he comes with a quiver with some gold arrows sticking out the back, and then of course another Arashikage symbol. These are actually more in scale with the figure than the arrow itself. This plugs right into the back, and it just adds something to them. I dig that. And then you can either do that or put the scabbard back here. Again, not bad at all. Well, except for that hood floating up. If you want to combine the two, the quiver also has a hole for the scabbard, and then you plug the whole thing on the back. Also comes with a grappling hook. Same off-white plastic for the hook itself. No paint details. Then there's a string or a nylon cord tied to the loop at the end. And this isn't bad. It was wrapped around the hook in the package, so it's pretty much like this until I iron it or something. But you get a little over a foot of cord with that. Okay, getting them stood straight up. Well, okay, now you can do it, of course. But as you're messing with it, if you don't have the ball waist cranked back, it's gonna crunch. So actually, the ball joint at the waist works to counteract the looseness of the torso. Unless you go too far back and then boop. Don't care for that being loose. I'm gonna have to find a way to tighten that. Storm Shadow stands barely under 6 inches to the top of his head, and then the hood brings him up higher than that, which is actually slightly shorter than some of his Cobra compatriots like Cobra Commander or the Cobra Trooper. Does put him fairly even with Snake Eyes though. Slightly taller than Scarlet, slightly shorter than Beachhead, and then quite a bit smaller than Roadblock and Gung Ho. And in case you're wondering about the grenade launcher, that is Grim Knights from the McFarlane Toys DC line. Does fit in with other lines like the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Stormtrooper or the Marvel Legends comic book Black Panther. And here you can really see the yellowness to the white on Storm Shadow. And then for customs, here's my Articulated Icons White Ninja with the Cobra logo slapped on there. And then my Outback with the movie Killmonger legs, Shang-Chi arms, and Shatterstar torso. These two are actually closer in size than I thought they'd be. So at the end of the day, I like the overall design, but I stand by what I said. It's a clumsy Storm Shadow. I've talked about the torso, I've talked about the belt, I've talked about the hood, but there's also the lack of boot swivel, which I don't usually care about. I didn't realize how much I needed them until I was trying to get into some of these poses and the foot wouldn't turn, and I had to, what going, leg, no, with a line that has drop down hips and a ball joint waist, and great shoulder pads. It just exaggerates the need for that one point because you think, I have all this, why don't I have this? But I will admit, he does look badass standing with the rest of Cobra. As much as I hate to say it, this seems to be the low point so far. It definitely doesn't make me hate the line or anything. I'm not throwing them all away just because I'm not super happy with this one. But this Storm Shadow will be off to the side or off in the back until we get a more basic version. And hopefully by then, it'll be a tighter ship. It's almost like Hasbro's trying to run before they walk. This line's only 6 months old, if that. I can forgive some stumblings as long as I see improvement as we go on. I'm trying to figure out something else to say to end this so people won't think I'm like overly negative here, but it's a $20 action figure. I'm still happy. It's just not up to par with the other figures in this line so far. So if you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus. If you're interested in seeing videos early or just in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. I did notice that part of my hood problem goes away if he's looking up slightly. Crunch down and looking out, just peering out below the point of the hood. At the same time, my dumbass kind of wants to buy a second so I can glue the hood to the top of the head. Or I'm a glutton for punishment, one or the other.